We want to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Touring and Cruises. Here's something you might not know. Booking with a travel advisor doesn't cost you anything. Disney pays them after you travel. You'll pay the same price you see online, but Touring and Cruises adds an enhanced level of service. Their expert advisors watch for discounts and apply them automatically, even after you book. And it's not just Disney. They can help with cruises, Universal, and all kinds of vacations. Whether you want help planning it all or just someone in your corner if plans change, they're here to help. And yes, they'll wait on hold with Disney 4 hours, so you don't have to. So when you're ready to plan your next trip, head to touringandcruises.com and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, let's rope drop.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. I am Doug McKnight here with Lauren Shields. And Lauren, what kind of exciting thing did you do
I was
tonight?
at a never-ending choir concert. So long. But I think we should save that for the after show.
Yes, I can't wait to hear about
it. Was never ending. Oh my gosh, I was
choir
texting you so much.
But
how did you spend your day?
I went to district track. So I got to get a small sunburn, which is always good for a Tuesday afternoon. It was better than being in the office, right? And then tomorrow I get to drive down to Lawrence and move somebody out of a dorm.
Oh, that sounds super fun.
Fun stuff. And then we get a band concert tomorrow night, hopefully shorter than yours. And then off to National Speech Night Talk on Friday and Saturday. So if you're listening to this and you're at Night Talk in Kansas City and you see me, say hello. I ran into several listeners last year at the National Speech Meet, so don't be shy. Come up and say hello. And one was a Patreon last time, Lauren.
Oh, very cool. Well, speaking of Patreons, we have no new ones this week, so you're going to have tiers. Do you have tiers?
Well, hopefully I'll run into one at Night Talk.
And then you won't have tiers. Okay. But if you would like to come join us on Patreon, we have a bonus after show episode every week. Doug also does a weekly news episode that one day I'll listen to. And we also started ad-free listening for the Grand Flow level and up. So if you do not like ads, which I don't usually, that is a good way to skip those.
Yeah, there you go. Patreon, great way to support the show. Another great way to make sure you support the show is to always make sure you're subscribed on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode, or leaving a 5-star review. Leave a 5-star review and we will read it on air and love you forever. This week's 5-star review is titled Great Disney Podcast. 5 stars by DebRob623. All right. I have been enjoying this podcast for over a year now and really enjoy it. Lauren has been a great addition and Doug has always been a favorite. His sense of humor and banter reminds me of my younger brother who is also a dentist. The variety of content is much appreciated and helps me to get by between my Disney trips. A great mix of information, experience, humor, and topics that hit on the whole Disney spectrum. Keep the great shows coming. Well, thank you, DebRob623.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. That was super nice. And apparently dentists share like a same sense of humor, I guess.
I would say not so much when I go to my meetings and conventions. I think I'm definitely in a minority.
Oh, yeah. Like, are you the funny dentist and there's not a lot of those?
I'm not saying I am, but I'm also not saying I'm not.
Your eyes got so big. I wish people could see your eyes.
They're wild times. They're exactly what you think. Like, I mean, it's got to be better than accounting. Take that, Wes.
Wow.
No.
Burn.
Oh, yeah, the DCL dude. I just got him. Anyway, yeah. So for new listeners, I'm a dentist. In case you didn't know, that's my day job. And until podcasting takes off just a little bit more, I'll be doing that. So there you go. But today we're gonna talk all about the different months of the year and kind of the pros and cons and all that sort of stuff. So we'll be talking about that after the break. And we're back. All right, Lauren, it is time to talk about the months of the year. What is our favorite month? What is our least favorite month? I don't know. Do you know what yours is? Do we need to hash all this out?
Well, we might. There's so many options. And like sometimes it's a specific week in a month that I like.
Yeah, there's 12 options. When you say there's so many options, there's 12, Lauren.
Well,
There's
there's
12
12, but
options.
like sometimes it's like I like this week of this month, but not like it's not the whole month. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely. And so you're going to get all our little favorites here, there, nooks and crannies of the calendar. So where should we start, Lauren?
You got to start with
Kick it off.
January. Okay, so January, what is the weather like, Doug?
Well, January, I gotta say the weather. If you don't like the heat, it's pretty good. The average high in January is 72. The average low is 48. I will say this: that average high is gorgeous. However, remember the sun sets pretty darn early, so you don't get that high very long. You
Mm-mm.
you know what I mean? Like it hits it and then it goes
Yes.
away, right? So you need to like taking your pictures, um, you know, in the dark. Like you're not getting evening pictures in the daylight. The sun's at a lower angle, so pictures are harsher with the angle of the sun. Golden hour is very short. That's something you need to think about for Disney, right? Your sunlight and pictures.
That's like very scientific. I mean, the one good thing about the sun going down early is the fireworks shows are earlier.
Yes, you
So
don't have to
for
wait for them. When we were at
no,
Disneyland Paris, oh my gosh, the fireworks at 11:30 at night or something because it doesn't get
no
dark
way.
there. Yeah, well, it's
I
so far
can't make
north. You
it.
forget how north Europe is,
Right.
right? It's like
Right.
Seattle. It, yeah, it was like 11:30 when we saw fireworks in July. We were there over 4th of July. So that's unrelated to January. I am already way
We're
off
already off
track
track.
here. But yeah, so the weather, if you don't like being hot, January is great, but it is chilly and cold. I will say that.
I've seen it be all over in January. I've seen it like be 90, like have freak heat going on, and then I've seen it be super cold there. So 72 in January, you're good.
Yeah. January in Florida, also December, getting ahead of ourselves. It's like the Midwest spring.
It is. It's
It's
not consistent.
unpredictable. You dress in layers, be ready for anything. All right. What about the race weekend that falls in there, Lauren?
Yes, so that is usually the first full weekend of January, like assuming that we're moving away from New Year's Day. So for
Hmm.
2026, it's January 7th through the 11th. That is marathon weekend. That is the biggest racing weekend of the year. So that is a good weekend that if you are not a runner and you're not wanting to race, I would avoid that weekend.
Yeah, and you got to see firsthand what Run Disney does to parks and getting around. Like it impacts travel to and from the parks in the morning, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, there's traffic, roads are closed, things get a little dicey. So if you're
Yeah,
not
like
running the
Epcot
race
open
or
late.
you're yeah, and you're not
Yeah.
support yeah, that's true too. Epcot openly. And you're not supporting a runner, I would just not I would not go this weekend unless you're there for the race.
Right. This is where we're breaking down the exact weekends. But if you're going
Weeks.
for the race, it's fantastic, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But if you're not going
Yeah.
for the race, I ugh. um, runners are weird too. So I mean,
What do you mean
speaking as
runners
one,
are
we're
weird?
technically weird. We're technically runners, right?
I
Oh,
am not
just
weird.
you see some strange things in the park during race weekends. Like you can smell the Bengay floating throughout the queues.
I don't think I smelled Ben Gay. Okay, let's move
Oh,
on.
Tiger Balm then? The Tiger Balm was wafting into my nose. Bioflex?
I
Biofreeze.
was I
What?
don't know what you were smelling, probably yourself. I don't know. Let's move on.
I don't know. Crowds,
So we
Lauren. Tell
have
us about crowd.
crowds. Um, Martin Luther King weekend is another weekend to be aware of that a lot of families will come up with the kids having an extra day off and kind of make a long weekend out of it. So if you can avoid that, I would, but
Hmm.
sometimes that's just what works with the schedule and it's not awful. Like you can make it work. The best
It's
time, in
not
my
the
opinion, to
worst.
go, it's, well, it's not like New Year's Eve, right?
No.
It's not that
No,
bad.
the worst thing about January. We'll say that.
I don't know. I think race weekend's worse. You think this is worse than race weekend?
I think there's more crowds in line for Martin Luther King Day. I think
Oh,
there's just
that's
more
true.
crowds at race weekend, right? It's a
From
different kind of crowd.
right. Well,
Race
from a
weekend, the
hotel
crowds are
standpoint,
annoying. Oh, prices are higher for Martin Luther
well,
King
I was just
Day.
thinking it's harder to get a room during race weekend than
There you
Martin Luther
go.
King. So
Oh, good
these
point.
are the nuances that I see all the time is how easy it is to get a room. But the end of January is actually a great time to go, which is when I have gone to Florida, Orlando, but we went to Universal at the end of January before.
Trader.
Um, I know. So one was for our kid's birthday because she has a January birthday and we did our Universal trip. And then Luke, I was supposed to take him closer to his birthday, which was in March, but we were coming out of COVID and all of a sudden they decided like in 3 weeks, we're going to stop doing hybrid learning and we're going to go to school full time. And I was like, oh no, we were going to go during hybrid learning. So you didn't have to miss school. So he got uh, moved to the end of January. So it's a great time, end of January. Have you guys been in January?
I've been in January a couple times. Yeah, it's enjoyable. Well, we've been there over New Year's, so that puts us in January, right? But
We've
I
been there
couldn't
over,
really count that as
yes.
January. And then we've had a couple where we've done 1 or 2 days before a cruise later in the month. And it's always nice, low crowds. I will say the last time I was there before a cruise, so mid January, I just remember being cold because I refuse to wear pants in Florida. I feel like I should be able to wear shorts. I've been in the Midwest winter, I'm wearing shorts, and I've been cold. That's the only drawback of like I hate the heat, but I don't like the cold either. So I'm gonna have to Goldilocks and say this one's too cold for me.
So
All right.
you'll wear shorts even if it's freezing?
Yeah.
So like we've been there in early January, like when we were staying over New Year's, and to the point where nothing opened up outside because it was too cold.
If I'm on vacation, I'm wearing shorts. If I'm on a cruise ship, I'm wearing shorts and flip flops.
What if you're in
So
Alaska?
check the pictures, Lauren. Check the pictures. Now I don't wear the flip flops on like the excursions. Like I didn't go kayaking in Alaska in flip flops, but yeah, I'm wearing shorts now. I might have on a couple layers up top, but that's different. I've worn jeans in the parks before, and it just wrecks my soul. All right, what about festivals? Because there's always a festival, right?
Yeah, so Festival of the Arts starts in January and goes through February. I lost my little notes that
I
told
think
me the
it's
weekend. Oh, well, so for 2026, wait, was that for 2025 you wrote? They don't have
yeah,
26 out yet. So for last
no.
year, it was January 17th through February 24th. Another thing to note is usually the last week of January, Skyliner is most years down for maintenance.
Hmm.
So that is a bad time to book a Skyliner resort.
And lots of pools usually close for maintenance in the winter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just be
Okay.
aware of that. But Festival of Arts, great festival. That's a good one to go to. Have you guys been?
Oh yeah, I've been a couple times. It's good. I like it.
I like that one. All right. Moving on to February, right? We're
There we
good.
go. Yes.
All right. Do you want to give us the weather forecast for February?
Yes, let's talk weather. It's a little warmer. We go up by 2 degrees on the high. We go up to 74 degrees, but the low jumps up to 54. So that's an increase of 6 degrees over January. So getting a little warmer. Also, January, February, very dry. Some of the driest months of the year.
That's
I think
true.
that's
Not much
important,
rain.
right?
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
that's a good thing. So
Yes.
there you go.
And
There's also a race this month too, isn't there?
yeah, it's Princess Half Marathon. That's usually sometimes in February. I think for 26, it's February 26th
No.
through March 2nd, so the very end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It bounces
So, but I've
around a
seen it
little
be
bit.
earlier. I swear one year they overlapped with President's Day weekend, which was awful. But that's
Oh,
another long
yes, they've
weekend to
done
be
that
aware
before.
of.
Yeah. So, talking crowds, President's Day, way worse than Martin Luther King Day. I think this is
I
a.
agree. Yeah, because like we typically have a 4-day week unless they're trying to make up a snow day early on. But like we have a 4-day weekend that weekend. And I think there's some other schools that get like an extra day off around that time. So it does tend to be crowded.
And then there's the Super Bowl in February, which turns out to be a great night to go to the parks. Did you know that? The
I did
parks
not know
empty
that, but it
out
makes sense.
Super Bowl night. Yeah, it's one of the slowest nights of the year. The day, not so much, but the evening, because February is already kind of slow, except for presidents and possibly another thing we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, the evening of the Super Bowl, dead. Like zero locals, just empty. So, yeah,
I've never
if
been
you're not a
there.
football fan, I have not experienced either because I'm watching the Super Bowl. I'm usually watching my
I was
Chiefs
gonna
in the Super
say,
Bowl lately.
right? Aren't you a
Like
Chiefs fan?
lately.
Yeah, like typically they're
Yeah.
in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't
And
miss
will be
that.
forever. Yeah. So what is the other huge thing that can sometimes be in February that can impact a whole week?
So Mardi Gras. So we were talking about this before we start recording. Louisiana schools have off, so that is another week where it will be busier than normal. So that can sometimes be in February, sometimes March.
I think I came home with a Cajun accent one time. Yeah. It was straight out of Bayou.
Did your kids come home with it too?
I think it was just me.
Oh.
I think it was just me. I'm susceptible to no, I don't know. I don't know. But
Wait till we get to
you
Jersey
can
week.
tell. Oh boy. You can tell. I've been there in February for the Princess Marathon before, and I like the February weather. It's just the low is a lot higher, so you don't get as cold, right? And the
It's not
sun's
as
up
bad as
longer.
January. I agree. Yeah, it's probably not going to be like you're not going to want to be hanging out at the pool all day, but it's going to be more
No,
comfortable than January.
yeah, I'm not really a pool hanger outer type of person, so it
You are
works for
not. I
me.
am.
No, no. So that's the crowds. How about festivals?
So Festival of the Arts is usually still going on through most of February.
And I think it will
Yeah.
be this next year once we get dates. Shall we move on?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Are
March,
you
that's a
good
big
on
month for
February? We're good? Or do we? Okay.
yeah. Let's move on to March because that's an important month. What is the weather like in March, Doug?
Well, the weather, it's increasing by another 5 degrees for the high. 79.
Ooh.
A lot of people think is like the perfect temperature. And the low just jumps up by 2 degrees. So you actually have a wider range in temperature, partly because the sun is staying up longer by March. Um, so that's one thing to be aware of. Also, one thing to be aware of is you spring forward in March, I believe.
And
And
this
so
is,
if you,
and this, yeah, this, we've
Mhm.
gotten hit by a lot of spring breaks with that happening. And this is also when they will start moving the fireworks back
Yeah,
to like 9.
so
So that's something to be aware of.
because sun's up later. So that's the weather. It's not really rainy yet. March by a lot of people is considered the best weather for Central Florida, hands down. And I've
Yes.
been chilly before. Like I've had to wear a hoodie to the parks. It's one of those times of year where it's really nice to have a stroller because you take off your layers, you stick them in the stroller. Once we lost the stroller, March was brutal. I had to keep carrying everybody's
You got to
stuff.
carry everybody's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've had a
yeah.
March where like, because we've done a lot of spring breaks there. And usually we're kind of like early to mid March spring break where we'll start off the trip with like hoodies or fleeces on even. But by the end of the trip, it's like warm enough to get in the pool and it's in the 80s. So it seems to be like that second week of March is when it starts to be more consistently warm.
So on your spring break trips in the past, have you spent lots of time at the pool then? Like it's warm enough? Like what exactly?
It's like it's like it follows this pattern of like the first 2 or 3 days will be cold and we don't, and but by the end of the trip we'll get a couple good pool days in. So just
Okay.
it's a little bit all over the place for pool. I think in March, towards the end of the March, I think it's more reliable, and you're getting
It's
in the
what
pool.
March in like a lion, out like a lamb, and the lamb is pool weather, evidently. Or is that
Yeah.
just a Midwestern thing to say? Is it? Is that a?
Well, I don't
Does
know because
that
we're both
apply to?
Midwesterners.
Does that apply to Florida? Is it really in like a lion, out like a lamb? I don't know, guys. You're gonna
I
have to
don't
let us
know.
know if our Midwesternness is
Yeah.
showing. Oof. So I've done
Yes.
spring
And
break
then
several times. Had great trips in spring break.
This is
But
sometimes where
crowds.
we've overlapped with you guys and seen
Yeah,
you.
it's where when we first met in line
Yes.
for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I think one time. Was that the first time?
I
I
don't
think so.
remember.
I
Don't
see how
remember.
memorable it was for you.
But I feel like usually like we're getting there as you guys are leaving. Like we must have like
Yeah,
one weekend where it
slightly different.
overlaps.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say our spring break tends to follow Central Florida spring break, which is like
Mm,
mid-March, and it's
yeah.
always really crowded there. So that is sometimes frustrating because they don't have like all, well, I guess I'm jumping ahead. They don't have all like the Christmas stuff going on or the late hours as much, but it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes almost as crowded.
Yeah. It's like the third busiest thing at Disney World after things we'll
It
talk about later.
is.
It's the third
Yes.
busiest crowd levels period every year, and especially if Easter pops in to March, then
Yes.
it's really bad.
Yeah. So
Easter,
spring break pretty much, yeah, I was going to say spring break pretty much goes from like March until Easter because
yeah,
a lot of like the Catholic schools or private schools will plan it around Easter. So like
and
this year it
that's
was in
rough.
April. So it like kind of, it was a long spring break season. And then right after Easter,
Hmm.
everything gets much better. But when it's in March, that doubles that. And we have like one of the best festivals, I think. Flower and Garden starts usually in March and goes through June. How, how do you feel about Flower and Garden?
They have good concerts. I think they do
I
well
thought you
there.
were gonna
It
complain
used
about
to,
your allergies.
the food's really hard for me. I tried, and it was like the only stuff I could eat that I wanted to eat was too far a walk. So I
I was
don't know
talking about
what
your
that
like
says about
seasonal
me.
allergies.
Oh, I have to use so much Flonase. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's healthy to do it as much as I do it the 2 days leading up to the trip during spring break. Like, and then like I don't want to say how many times I do it because it's off label for sure. Um, but yeah, I
Well,
a
don't
lot of
promote that.
Flonase. I was pretty good though for our run though. I was a little nervous because I've had some spring break
Oh
trips where
yeah.
I've been absolutely miserable, but I think we were just late enough we missed a lot of the local pollen. But there's some
Right.
stretches walking around Epcot where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to walk faster and hold my breath with all the flowers." Yeah, it's not the most allergy
Yeah.
friendly for seasonal allergies. Also, the food was not food allergy friendly because they use a lot of weird
Oh.
fruits and nuts to because they're all,
Okay.
flour based, right? So there was a lot more
Right.
things that I can't eat food wise because they're being creative.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
there you
we
go.
have some
Least
seasonal
favorite festival for
allergies.
Doug.
We have some seasonal allergies that go on in our house, so yeah, I have to kind of prep before we go there, make sure we got all the good stuff. But if we prepare for it, we usually do fine with it. But I actually love it because I love the topiaries. I love they try
Mm,
to change it up a little bit every year.
yeah.
They're just fun to kind of walk around and see all the different characters. So it's actually my favorite, I think, is Flower and Garden, just because
Wow.
of the topiaries. I know.
Okay.
Strong words.
Your favorite, my least favorite, but not everything can be everybody's favorite. That's why they do more than one thing, right? That's why
This
there's
is true.
options.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. So April, what's up the weather report for April?
Well, now it's starting to get warm. All right. We got another 5-degree increase on the high. We're up to 84 degrees for the high, a low of 60 degrees. I would say that's an ideal low for me. Like, I can take a 60-degree low at rope drop all the time. 84 though, you're starting to sweat a little as you're walking
Yeah,
around.
it's going to
Now,
get
we
warm.
were just there in April and we set a
Yeah.
record high for 2 days. It was in
Yeah.
the 90s.
I think
So
while
take
we
that
ran
average
10
temperature
miles.
while we ran. And the
It was so hot.
humidity, the Florida humidity has arrived by April. So that's
Yes,
something else
it
to be
was
aware of.
humid. Yeah. So, yes,
Mm,
we do, as we were alluding to, have the race weekend in April, the springtime surprise that usually is always in April.
mm-hmm.
This year it was before Easter, and I think next year it's
Yeah.
after Easter, which
Yeah.
is kind of nice because I think the crowds actually weren't too bad when we were there, but I think they'll be even lower next year.
Yeah. I think so. I think the crowds will be better for the race weekend next year, and well, we'll see what's all on the old high school schedule for when they haven't announced official dates yet, though, which is weird,
Did he
right?
decide what sport he's doing?
No,
But
we can't
then,
plan anything. I don't know. We know when prom is. The odds are prom is going to eliminate it. That's my guess.
oh
So,
no, really?
yeah. So we have homecoming getting in the way of a fall trip, and I think prom is going to be the same weekend as the springtime surprise. So,
That's
yeah,
illegal.
that's going to be a no-go,
Oh, that's
right?
so wrong. Oh, I'm so bummed because that would have been a
Yeah.
great weekend. I love
It
that
would
it
have
was
been.
post Easter.
Yeah.
Like that's
Easter
awesome.
bouncing around makes everything complicated. So, race weekend, what else
Yes.
about the crowds? We got Easter and spring break still, right?
Yeah, so just know when Easter is, and then that kind of gives you a clue into April as to when the crowds are going to die down. And actually, like so, late April is usually a good time to go because usually you're past the spring break and
Mhm.
Easter crowds. Yeah,
Yeah, a week plus after Easter, and you're sitting pretty, and you got some nice warm weather, but not hot weather, right? That's how I would describe it.
right. Yeah, yeah. So both times I've been in April it was with adults only, and it was like great crowd wise and weather wise. I mean, it's
Yeah.
starting to get humid, but I like it a little bit warmer, so I was happy with it.
All right.
All right,
Moving on.
May. And I'm going to make you do it since you wanted to say what all the weather was every month. Go ahead, Doug. What is May like?
Let's be honest. You thought it sounded more like a Doug sort of thing to know and say that you
It
wouldn't
sounds like
actually
gross
look up the
tonnage.
weather. Yeah.
Yep.
You're not wrong. So we can't talk about May without talking about Justin Timberlake and welcoming us into May because it's gonna be May. All right. Anyway, we get a little hotter. 87 degrees for a high, 71 for a low. This is where there's just no relief, right? In the morning at rope drop, this is what Florida does to you. The high did not go up that much, but the low went up 11 degrees from April.
Yeah.
So this is
So it just
summer.
never really
May
cools
is
off.
hot. You're never,
Yes.
it's, yeah. And when it is like 75 degrees out, the humidity is 80% or some silly number that it should never be. So, and it's starting to rain in the afternoons. The summer
Mm-hmm.
showers can commence in May. The weather is getting less ideal than March and April. So, there you go. Summer arrived with that average low. But no races?
No races, but we do
Okay.
have crowd wise. You want to start thinking about Memorial Day weekend, the long weekend. It's also when a lot of kids get out of school. So if you want to go in May, when so basically, if you have caught on to anything at this point, if the kids are in school, the crowds are usually low. So early May, not a lot of families are pulling kids out of school because they're wrapping up the school year. It's a hard time to pull them out. That is a good time for crowds. Once you get towards Memorial Day weekend, that's gone because a lot of schools were out. People are coming in for the long weekend, and end of May is just busy.
Yeah, I've been there early May, and then I've been there Memorial Weekend. I've been there right after Memorial Weekend. They do open a lot of attractions for Memorial Weekend, like Avatar open for Memorial Weekend. We got new shows opening at Hollywood Studios for Memorial Weekend. So there is something to be said about going after Memorial Day weekend if something's ready to open. They're trying to open it for that summer crowd. But there's a reason stuff doesn't open the 1st of May because no one's there.
Yeah,
So that
and
does make it pretty
sometimes
nice.
across the city, they're opening up a whole new park in May.
Right? Memorial Weekend opening up Epic Universe, right? There's something about May to open things in
Hmm.
time for that summer crowd.
I didn't know if you
But
were going to allow me to say epic again.
just not putting it in the title of the show. It's just how it's going to go. Um, is the festival still festivaling through May?
It is. I will say Jake's favorite thing to note is that when we are there in March, all the topiaries look fantastic, including Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm,
And if you
mm-hmm.
start to see Winnie the Pooh by end of May, beginning of June, he's looking a little rough and bigger than normal. So
More
the
poo shaped.
topiaries are quickly fading. Yeah. He's looking like he's had a lot of honey. So the topiaries are starting to kind of not do so well with the heat by that time. But
Yeah,
the
that
festival's still usually
maintenance.
going
Oof.
on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
dang.
lot. That's a lot.
That's
So
big.
going into June,
Okay.
how much warmer do we get?
Not much warmer, 4 degrees. So this is summer. 91 degrees for a high, 73 for a low. So just a few degrees up. Not any big jumps like we saw in May. It's definitely rainy season. So just like I've had people that have been like, "Oh my gosh, the forecast says it's going to rain every day of our trip." And I just say, "Yeah, it is." That's why you take a midday break too. If you get really
Yeah.
good at it, like we have napped through every thunderstorm one trip in June, and it's just what you do. And so we'll be there in June again this year for a few days, and I'm sure I'll sweat and I'll gripe about being hot, but it is what it is. It's when I can go. It's when it fits in the kids' schedule, which that's what it is. So how does that impact the crowds?
Well, it's summer, so I feel like the crowds are higher because the kids are out of school, right? And I do see a lot of families that like to travel in June, like right when school's out, and they feel like July and August are even worse with the weather
Mm-hmm.
getting hotter. So a lot of
Yeah.
families do like to go in June. And then
Yeah.
going back to the rain though, the storms are short. So like don't that we didn't really specify that. Don't freak out if you see rain
No.
every day. They're
Like
usually like 20 minutes or something like that.
the long version of a storm is like an hour. Or the worst ones are where it's scattered and like you don't know if it's really going to hit you or not. Like we've
Yeah.
been in the parks where like it pours in Magic Kingdom and like shuts down all the outdoor rides, and we're over at Hollywood Studios going like, "Oh, it's a beautiful day here." Right? It can
Yeah, it's so
sometimes be
weird.
like that.
It
Like
is weird.
so
I've seen that
scattered.
100%. Yeah,
And
it is really
like
weird.
we've been enough, we know what direction the storms usually move for watching the clouds to know like
Mhm.
that one's coming to us, right? um Watch the radar like the week leading up, like get familiar with the pattern of the weather because it's very patterned, because it's coming out of the Gulf and just moving across the panhandle. So if you're like from Colorado, like you get used to how the mountains impact weather, think of the same thing, right? Like out of the Gulf across the panhandle, it's like set a watch
Fe
does it.
I feel like you're becoming a weatherman this
you
episode.
know there was a moment in time I debated it, so
Well, I guess we're
I
just getting
tried to
that
move
version
on
of
to
Doug
crowds
tonight.
and you came right back. It's not my
I know, but
fault,
I didn't want
man.
people to get freaked out that it was gonna rain all day, so I just wanted to clarify. But yeah, crowds, June, not great. I don't you agree?
I There's worse. I mean, it's above average. Like on the banana scale, it's like 6 to 7 bananas of crowds.
Yes. Yeah, and I would say so. People are actually moving away from the summer months because they don't want to deal
Hmm.
with the heat. So I feel like each year the summer months are getting better and better and better crowd wise. I just feel like out of the three, June is usually the most crowded of the three.
And I think we see more discounts creeping into the summer as well because of that. Because so many
Yeah,
people are opting for October and fall break. So
yeah,
yeah,
everyone's
June.
doing October and March.
I would do
Okay, so
June over our next 2 months for sure.
you would do June over July and August?
Yeah, I'd rather go in June.
No,
I don't know.
that is
No?
no, I would not. We've
Okay.
gone in July and August so many times and had great crowds that I would go again
Okay.
before June. So we agree to disagree.
All right, we'll talk about July.
All right, July. Let's go, Mr. Weatherman. What will the weather be?
All right, it's hotter in July. Just when you thought it couldn't get hotter, it gets hotter. It's 92 for a high, 75 for a low. More violent storms. Like the rain comes down sideways too. We didn't mention that. Like, that's why you have to get a
Oh yeah, it
poncho. An
does.
umbrella does nothing. Umbrellas are hilarious. Like, Florida rain laughs at the umbrella. But yeah, it's hotter, more humid. July is the worst weather of the year, for sure. But
Oh yeah, I
there's
guess it is.
reasons.
Yeah, so crowd wise, 4th of July will be another busy week. That's not even like a weekend thing. Like people will come for the full
No.
4th of July week. So that is something to be aware of. The rest of July is not too bad. I still maintain that that's better than the June crowds, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think I'm overreacting to the weather. But I've been there.
It's
So I think
hotter.
most of my July experience is the 4th, which there is something awesome about being in the Magic Kingdom on the 4th of July, watching the fireworks with 8 bazillion of your new best friends. Also, best night to get a dessert party. Let me tell you that.
Yes.
We've done that before.
Same
But
price.
the 4th of July is very cool. They do a great show, very patriotic. Sam Eagle would be proud type of thing. And we've had some great memories. And like they do the same show on the 3rd and the 4th. So like one
Hmm.
night we'd watch from the Contemporary, the other night we watch from in the park, things like that. So 4th of July is pretty cool, if I must say so
It is
myself.
cool. We've done it a couple times, and I'm not even kidding you because I wanted to see the fireworks specifically on those 2 days. And we liked it so much, I think we did it the next year too. And we try to go on the 3rd so we don't have to deal with it on the
Mm-hmm.
4th and
Yeah.
kind of pretend that that's the 4th of July. The crowds are a little bit better, but they were awesome fireworks. I agree. Worth seeing at
Yeah.
least once. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Is there any
festivals,
festivals? No,
not
right?
really, unless they want to
It's
drag
Diet
out Flower and
Epcot.
Garden. Yeah, Diet Epcot,
Cool.
correct. And
Yeah.
then moving along to August, what's the weather in August?
It's getting cooler now. It's down to a very reasonable 91 degrees for a high and a low of 75. So, August feels like the surface of the sun come to Earth, uh, and the humidity is just as high. It's July and August. It's hot. No way around that, and it's still rainy. So there
Yeah,
you
so
go.
we've gone in August a lot because we start school at the end of August, so it's a good time for us to go and swims, taking a break. It is really hot, so we always have to take an afternoon break, whether that's at the
Hmm.
pool or a lot of times it's almost too hot for the pool, and we're just in the air conditioning back at the hotel. So take breaks. The morning and night aren't so bad. The crowds are pretty low, so we actually get a ton. Those are some of my favorite trips. We've gotten a ton done um, when we went in August. It's just you have to work around the heat a little bit in the middle of the day and come up with some sort of a plan to take an extended break, I think.
Yeah, we haven't been in August for a long time. Michelle's birthday is in August. We've done that before, just her and I. But the kids are getting back in school mid-August for us. And leading
Right.
into school, we have band camp, cross country practice starts, all those things. So August has become like a no-fly zone for us, for lack of a better
For a
term.
lot of
And
families. Yeah.
yeah,
And we're good
it's
for now, but once I have a second high schooler, I think we're going to have the same problem just because of her
so it
activities. We'll start in
like
August.
yeah, the crowds are definitely better because of that, though, because people are starting to go back to school
I will also say
for
the
sure.
flights are cheaper too in August because
Mm.
a lot of families really are traveling in June and July because they have back to school stuff in August. So if you can swing it, if your school starts later in August or even in September, that's a good month to look at for crowds.
So
And then we
there's,
also start,
s-
go
yeah,
ahead.
something that impacts the day of the week. You have to go to which parks, right?
Yes, I was
It
about
gets
to say
complicated.
that's when Disney decides it's Halloween time. Is August. Did you know that?
It is. It's 100% Halloween time. I mean, nothing
Is
feels like
it?
Halloween time like 91 degrees when you're trying to wear a costume in the park.
when
It's
when
so
your kids
hot.
haven't gone back to school and you're on a summer
Mhm.
vacation and they're like, we're gonna have a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party
Like,
this week.
when
It's
is the
nuts.
first one this year?
August 15th, I
It,
believe.
that I mean, that's probably the day we start school. Like, that's
A lot of
crazy.
schools. We don't start school just because of a state fair law, which is weird. We
Yeah,
used to start
Iowa
school
special.
around that time.
It's
We are
It's so you can
special.
go admire butter sculptures, Lauren. You're supposed to go look at the butter.
I go
So
to Disney
it,
instead.
we're not going to say all the dates of the parties, but they did just come out. They haven't told us all the prices and when to book yet, have they? Or have they told us when to
So
book?
they
It's
have told us Thursday, which is so May 15th. I had to look at my calendar. May 15th, if you are staying on site, you can book your tickets. And then they open up to everyone else on May 22nd. So a week later, the following Thursday. They don't
and
have
you
prices. They gave us a price range. That was it.
I love that. Yeah. That first one will probably be one to sell out and Halloween night, right? Those are the first to sell out.
Yeah,
But don't wait a long time to buy your tickets because they all eventually sell out and in advance,
they do.
not like day of selling out. Like we've almost not gotten one before when we've traveled in September. So
I remember that. That was close,
yeah,
but we made it.
that was close. We
Um,
got in.
you
Is
did.
there a
And so something just
festival?
to
Oh, go ahead.
Food and Wine starts. That's the Epcot Festival. Starts at the end of August and goes up till almost Thanksgiving. I did just want to say about parties. If you have park hoppers, go to Magic Kingdom in the morning of a party day because the crowds will be low. It's amazing. That's been some of my favorite rope
Solo.
drops. It's awesome.
Like
It's like you don't realize
don't
how many people don't have park hoppers until you go there.
you don't need Genie or multipass or whatever on Earth it's called now. You don't even need that at the Magic Kingdom that
It's
day. That's how
awesome.
often do I
Those are
say that?
some of my I know. That is some of my favorite rope drop memories are on party days at Magic Kingdom. Because if you don't have the park hopper, then you're going to save it for a day that there's not a party, so you don't get kicked out of the park early. The problem with
Because
that
you
is
want to watch
that
fireworks.
right, and so the park gets crazy on those days because
Hmm.
there's only like 2 or 3 days that people can go during their trips. And they want to see the regular fireworks, so it gets a little crazy on those days. So the parties do impact what the crowds look like at Magic Kingdom, depending on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Food and
Yeah.
Wine starts up, and we move right into September.
Yay, September.
Are
It's
you still
cooling
making us do
off.
the weather? We're still doing the weather. Go ahead.
It's 88 degrees for the high, 73 for the low, couple degrees cooler. Doesn't feel like fall. We have been a lot of times in September as adults only, right? Like I think
Yep.
what 3 times together, and uh,
Yeah,
surface of the sun, I think is the appropriate description of the afternoon in the theme parks in September.
it's hot.
It's hot.
Actually,
I'm
I thought
sweaty. I'm
August might have been
smelly.
worse. Yeah, we are
I
smelly.
haven't been for a
Um,
while, so it's memories make it grow fonder. But man, we've had some great September trips in spite of the weather. We've done parties in September. We've
mhm.
done food and wine in September. Now, food and wine in September is much different than later in the year because that hot cheese, some other things, there's no way I would eat
You
that
don't
in the
want to eat
heat.
them. Yeah,
Oh my
agree,
gosh, it's
agree.
it's
There's certain
it's
foods you don't want to eat because it's too hot.
doesn't
And then
stop Alex though at all. Alex will eat
no, let's see.
all the
I
hot
was just
things
thinking
in the
I
heat.
did eat the mac and cheese, but to be fair, we were in the
Yeah,
hall,
we were
so it was
inside.
cold.
And
It was air
yeah,
conditioning.
that mac and cheese was
So I
good.
feel like it was really good. That needs to come
I
back. I
feel
really
like
wanted
our
this is a side
weather
note.
was better on that last trip. I don't think it was as hot.
It was not too bad. Mm-mm.
No.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, but crowd wise, so Labor Day, you still have to watch out for because there's still, I believe, especially East Coast schools usually start back up
Mm-hmm.
after Labor Day. After Labor Day, it's amazing, and that's usually when we go like the week after, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the lowest crowd levels of the year is right after Labor Day because the whole East Coast finally back in school.
Everyone's back
So
in
nobody,
school.
yeah, nobody's there. It's fantastic.
Nope.
There's a lot of adult only trips, I think, going on. See ya, kids.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That you will see a lot of adults there. I mean, you will see some kids, but not a lot. Um, but yeah, so I do anytime after Labor Day is pretty good in September. And then October,
Yeah.
a popular month to go.
Yeah, this is the new summer, so to speak. Not weather-wise, though. Hmm? 82 for a
Mm.
high, 66 for a low. It's finally sounding good.
Yes,
Would
the
you
what I
agree?
will say, we've had some really beautiful weather in October. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's starting to dry up a little bit. So that helps
Yeah,
too.
it's not raining as much, and, like, it's really we've so our fall break is usually the last weekend of October, and it's sometimes, like, we'll get, like a, a chilly week or something. It's kinda nice to go down there and, like, enjoy the sunshine for another weekend
Mm-hmm.
before it gets significantly cold here. And
Yeah.
it's not humid, it's really nice in October, so I get why it's becoming more and more popular.
Lots
Um
of fall breaks.
Yeah, which, like, are kinda scattered throughout the month, which help with crowds. I would say the beginning is usually the worst. You got Columbus Day in there. Um, a lot of fall breaks towards the beginning of October. Ours is that I will say we have a pretty good fall break. That last weekend, well, it was pretty good, but this year they're putting the Wine and Dine half marathon that weekend, so I don't know what's gonna happen to our
Right.
weekend. We'll have to
It's
see.
not
Yeah,
in
I'm kinda bummed
November,
about
which
that.
is really weird.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and Columbus Day, our first trip with kids, we went over Columbus Day weekend. Not sure why. I didn't have that day off. Our kids weren't in school, but we went over a weekend where the kids got out of school. I mean, we're there more than the weekend, but I remember that Sunday and before Columbus Day, it was like the parks exploded with people. We're like, what is
Yeah.
happening? Back in our, early days before we knew better, right? I mean, that was
Right.
2008, so a few years ago, just a few.
I don't
But
even think, like,
man,
we realized how many schools do get, like, fall breaks until we
hmm
had kids, like, that were school age, and then and they're all over the place, but, yeah, it's
yeah.
Columbus Day mixed in with fall it overlaps with a lot of people's fall breaks to kinda take advantage of both, so beginning of October can be a little bit rough. Mid to late October is pretty nice.
hmm
Um, I get why
But
people
man,
wanna go.
they,
You got
you
they
got the
what?
parties, right? You got the parties
Yeah, the
going
parties,
on.
that's what I was gonna say. So, yeah, same thing applies here, just beware of what you're doing, if you have a park hopper or not. Beware of party days, because if you're not going to the party, you're gonna get kicked out at 4. Um, but that's, like, kinda when I'm, like, ready to go to the party because now it's October.
Have you done a party on or right around Halloween, like really close to the holiday?
Yeah, yeah, not on
Yeah,
Halloween, but
it's
during one of our fall breaks.
Yeah,
It was
it's so
busy.
much better than September, right? It's way busier, but and more expensive. We did a November 1st party once.
Did that feel
Because
weird, or were you guys still in Halloween
I
mode?
mean, it was so we flew on Halloween. So like one of the kids missed their Halloween party at school. I think the other one
Oh,
got to go to it. Claire
did
wasn't in
you do
school yet.
do they still tell you about
Nope.
that? Because we missed a Christmas party, and I still
No.
hear about that
Haven't
5 years
I
later.
don't hear about it at all. Nobody cares.
Ugh.
But I so just that was our travel night. Like they went to school. Like one of them got their party and the other one didn't. That was like really bad
Oh,
parenting, but
geez.
whatever. But so the next day was just basically Halloween to us, right? Because you're on vacation, time doesn't matter, right? Like you don't know what day of the week it
Right.
is when you're vacationing.
That's true.
So it was great. And then the best part was the next day we got up, rope dropped Hollywood Studios, and there was a Christmas tree there, right? So we went to the Halloween party
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
then Christmas tree the next day. Like pictures, Halloween, Christmas, 10 hours apart, something like that.
how did your brain handle that?
Well, Hollywood Studios, they're big into the music for Christmas, right? So I hear the music,
Right.
I think there's some sort of chemical reaction in my brain, and it was Christmas time. Pavlov's dog.
Weird. Yeah, I see that they a lot of times they'll sell those November
hmm
1st tickets, and I'm thinking,
They're
like,
awesome.
I don't know if my brain could handle
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't happen
Yeah?
very often.
Okay.
It has to be like a Friday Halloween, right?
Like, fall on the
Yeah, so
weekend.
they double dip into
Yeah,
Saturday
'cause
night.
they're not doing it this year.
It's like once every 4 years or 5 years you see it.
Yeah.
It's not very often.
And it still
Oh,
sells
yeah.
out. It's
It's
not like people are
and
still
it's the
going.
highest price
Yeah.
they sell them at too. Like it's sold just like Halloween is.
Yeah,
And it was pretty good. And the weather is so much
it's
better
true.
than compared to, when we go in September, we're trying to think of a costume that's just a t-shirt. because you can't really wear more,
That's true.
right?
You'll be too
Like
hot.
the one year we
Yeah.
were the
Even in
festivals.
October, it can get
Yeah.
hot.
Our t-shirt costumes, we were the festivals
Yeah.
one year. Each of us wore a different festival shirt. And then
Yep.
what were we? Oh, we all wore Very Merry Christmas Party to transition to the next month, and we joked about how we bought the wrong fest or party tickets accidentally. Right? We were planning. Some of the cast members
Yes.
got
The
it.
cast members
Yeah,
enjoyed that.
like, oh, we bought the wrong party tickets, so we're here, right?
Yeah, moving into November. Did we do
Not
weather yet
yet.
for
It's
November?
fantastic.
I don't think
76
we
is a
did.
high, 55 for a low. This is where Doug likes to live, for sure. And drier.
Yeah, we live in the wrong
Mm-hmm.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's those
Yeah.
temperatures here in the Midwest, I can't go outside because there's so much pollen. I live next. Okay, so I'm on Cottonwood Street. There is a giant cottonwood tree at the end right next to my house. So much cotton. I'll put a picture on Patreon that I took before I mowed. Like it looks like it snowed along my driveway. Oh, it's
Really?
brutal. I don't.
Well, then
Ugh,
you
I hate cottonwood trees.
I was gonna say you should be all ready for your flower and garden. Then you can just train on your cottonwood
That's
tree.
I don't. It's not. This is after Flower and Garden though. I've already been there. This isn't. Yeah.
I guess that's
Okay.
true.
Anyway, I got
Yeah.
off topic. Are there parties in November?
Yes, but new parties. We move on to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So that it impacts the parks the
Mm-hmm.
same way. So if you have a park hopper, go here in the morning. If you don't, you're just going to have to skip it. It'll be a little bit crowded on the non-party days, but pretty much functions the same way for strategies. And then typically we do have a race weekend in here in early November with Food and Wine Half Marathon. But like I said, this year they moved it back to the last weekend of October. So I'm not really sure where that's going to end up since it's the first year that
I
they're doing that.
I think they're trying to avoid
Go
Jersey
ahead.
Week.
That's what I was going to say. The beginning of November is rough. Jersey Week is a thing. I didn't know it was a thing till I was a travel agent, so that's kind of interesting. Where the New Jersey gets like the teachers have an institute, or
Like the
I don't
kids are
know. The teachers
out.
are off. The kids
Right.
are off.
It's.
I don't understand it.
We did a cruise once.
For like a week.
Cruise during Jersey Week. I think we were the only people on the ship not from New Jersey. Like for real.
I
It was
believe it.
like
It's
9-1.
Like they all go.
Like everybody just vacates New Jersey.
It's
Like who
crazy,
keeps the lights on? Also, I feel so bad for the teachers. Like
right? They
they
have to
have a whole
stay.
week of in service. Like for real? I
Something. Like they have something. Yeah. It's nuts. And I just find it fascinating that they all go to like Florida. But yeah, so the beginning of November there's also Veterans Day.
Mhm.
So if that lines up together with it, which it does a lot, because there's some people that have a long weekend for
And
that, just beginning of November is not
Veterans
great.
Day is one of those rare kids are out of school, but the annual passes, the Florida resident annual passes, some of them that would be blocked out for things like President's Day and those sort of stuff or Columbus Day, usually not blocked out for Veterans Day. That's one that they try not to
Yeah, that's a
block
good
out.
point.
We ran into that at Disneyland one time. It was like the park is empty the day before, and then on Veterans Day it was like everybody because nothing was blocked out. So all the locals were there.
Mm.
Because it's a bad look to
Oh, I
block out
believe
the
it.
veterans on Veterans Day, right? Yeah, that's
Oh,
why.
yeah. That
Yeah.
would be bad.
Even though it's not like a veterans ticket, it's just like if a veterans has a local, like a Florida resident ticket. Yeah. So there you go.
I'm surprised they don't just say you're blocked out for Jersey Week. Call it something else.
Right. So
Yeah. And then also crowd-wise, we have Thanksgiving that is crowded. It's right behind like the
it's
Christmas and New Year's week in terms of
it's number
crowds.
2, and
You've been there on
we've done
Thanksgiving a
Thanksgiving a
lot.
lot, and Thanksgiving morning, very nice. You can get a ton done. We've done the Magic Kingdom on Thanksgiving morning multiple times. And up until like noon, it's pretty empty. People, I think, do their Thanksgiving at home and then they flood in, or they sleep. I don't know. They're watching a parade and then they come into the park. It
Hmm.
gets nuts though Thanksgiving night. Black Friday is absolutely miserable. It's not a fun day in the park. That's a great day to get on a cruise ship. I'll just say that and be done with Thanksgiving.
Which you also
Yeah.
have done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, depending on when Thanksgiving hits, if that's early enough in November, right after Thanksgiving is an amazing time to go, because no one is pulling their kids out of school right after the long weekend. It's kind of like September crowds, it reminds me of, like right when school starts back up, no one wants to take that week off, and you have the Christmas decorations up. So that's actually one of my favorite weeks, hands down,
Yeah.
that I like to go.
And sometimes that trickles into the first week
Yeah.
of December.
December. And what's the weather like in
Just
December,
a hair
weatherman?
cooler, 74 as a high, 52 as a low, and nice and dry. So pretty gorgeous. But
Yes.
like January, it can be like a Midwest spring or fall. Wear your layers.
Yeah, it can be colder. I would say we've had colder weather in January for sure, but it can be chillier. I do believe I was there last December with your wife, and she had to give me a hat and gloves
Toughen you
because
up.
I was cold.
Jeez, Lauren.
Well, we went to Jollywood Nights. So speaking of parties, I think we didn't mention that one. So that's new the last few years. That's the new Christmas themed party at Hollywood Studios. So we were at that party, and I did not realize that meant we were going to see characters all night, which I
That's
should
what you
have because
do at
it's a
parties.
show. Well, I had Gina, so I thought Gina would level me out and we'd do some rides. And Gina was like, "No, we have to go do all the entertainment and see all the characters." And I'm like, "You guys, I need to like go inside and warm up." And then Michelle's like, "Here's the hat and gloves. Put them on." So I did, and it's terrible because I think I was colder than Gina, and Gina's from the South. So I don't know what that says
I don't
about
know
me.
either. You're going to lose your Chicago card if you keep that up. They're not going to
I
claim you
know.
anymore.
I hate being cold. I know. They're going to exile
Yeah.
me. So, Jollywood parties I don't feel like
I
they
don't think so.
affect crowds as
Just
much.
park
Yeah, because they
hours.
start late. It starts
Yeah.
at like 9. Yeah. And so I wouldn't worry about that one as much. Early December crowd wise is a great time to go. As you get closer to Christmas, the crowds just go up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
Right?
Christmas
You agree?
gets crazy.
Yeah.
Busiest week of the year between Christmas and New Year's. Unless this is the only time you can go, don't go. I've done it.
And then then you go if you
I've
have to.
done it.
We have to.
It is what it is, but you go into it knowing what it is. And Festival of the Holiday at Epcot is fantastic. It's a nice distraction. Also, when the crowds are big, Festival of the Holidays has some really neat things that are easy to see, and like the storytellers and things like that.
That's one of my favorite time of the year to be in Epcot. They have a lot of cool things, and Living with the Land is really awesome. That's a good one to do at night when it's dark out because they have a lot of Christmas lights.
And you
in there.
have
So yeah,
Christmas decorations and Christmas music. It's hard to beat. So Lauren, let's give our favorite and our least favorite month.
Yes.
To wrap this up real quick, what is your favorite month to go?
I think I went with like that post Thanksgiving week. So it will either be end of November or the first week of December because I love all the Christmas stuff and I like the low crowd. So that's my favorite. Like I said, very specific week to go.
This
What's
is
yours
making for
favorite?
boring radio because I'm saying the same thing. November because I don't like being hot.
We are boring
as much, and I don't mind the crowds too much with Thanksgiving. I love the Christmas decorations, the Christmas mood and spirit. So I enjoy that. Yeah. So I'm going to say that's my favorite. All right. Least favorite.
Least favorite. This is a little biased. I think it's become March because we've done so many spring breaks there. I don't know, like the past 4 or 5 years straight up until this past one when we did move to the cruise instead. And we just got killed by sharing the same spring break at Central Florida. So every spring break I went on, it was just busy. It's just for crowds. Otherwise, I love it. I love it's warm out. I love the topiaries. The weather is fantastic. So I have mixed feelings about it, but I just didn't love the crowds. And we've been so many times that I think at this point, it's more fun for me to go on different months and kind of see different festivals or different things. What's your least favorite?
I debate between two, January and August. Um, I just
What?
don't like being cold on vacation. I just don't. January, you don't have the Christmas stuff up anymore. It's like lacking. Also, it's when the most refurbishments happen, right? A lot of rides go down after Christmas. We
Yeah.
didn't really talk about that a
Yeah, we
ton,
didn't talk about that.
but it's a
That's a
lot of
good point.
refurbishments. That's one great thing about Thanksgiving is if it can be open, it will be open because there's too many people there at Thanksgiving for
Right.
them not to have things open. So that's I'm gonna lean January is because nothing new has just opened either. Like they try to open that in the summer or late early fall before Thanksgiving, and so January, I just
Mhm.
sorry January, you don't do it for me. So there you go.
I agree. Yeah, I could see that. I don't like
All
being
right.
cold. Agree.
Well, if you want to book a trip to go in any of these months, because what might be my least favorite is your favorite, that's perfectly fine. Head over to our friends at touringandcruises.com and get a no obligation free quote today and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Lauren, any deals to mention?
There are still some 2025 discounts going on and still the free dining for 2026, which they are going to let you combine with other discounts as they come out. They usually come out like 3 to 6 months ahead of time. So
Yeah.
anytime really is a good time to
All
book
the
still.
months are good. That's what we're saying. So,
Yep.
all right, we're going to get on to the after show where we're going to discuss a little bit about what's going on in our lives, all that fun stuff coming up. So, make sure you follow us on social media on all the things at Rope Drop Radio. But for Lauren, I'm Doug. This has been another Rope Drop Radio.